Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with a crafting guide for the new Song of Divinity pack, which was just released here on Master Duel. We're going to be doing the same thing that we always do. We're going to go through all of the new UR cards, and then we will be evaluating each of them, discussing what decks they're useful for, and just how good each of those decks are going to be. So let's not waste any more time and get right on into it. Junora, the Power Patron of Tuning, is one of the new boss monsters for the Elfnote archetype, making its debut here at Master Duel. Now, as far as Medius the Pure lore decks go, I think Elfnote's going to be the strongest that we've seen among them so far. In fact, Elfnote right now in the OCG is actually considered, like, if not tier 1, an upper tier 2 deck, competing with Cool Tune, which is at the same power level it's at in Master Duel right now, as well as Branded, which of course has its new support that isn't in Master Duel yet. So, keeping all of that in mind, I'm going to be, again, a little bit optimistic here, and I'm going to call Elfnote a tier 1 deck. I don't think it's going to be as strong or stronger than Cool Tune. And its strength is going to overall depend on the exact amount of Elfnote / Power Patron cards we get. At the time of recording this portion of the video, the selection pack has not been released in full, so I don't know just yet. However, I think that even if it's only Wave 1, even then I think Elfnotes will probably still be a tier 2 deck. So I think that if you are looking for a very meta-relevant archetype, Elfnote is a pretty safe bet. Now, as far as how many copies of this card you'll want for Elfnote, just the one. You'll only need one Junora, the Power Patron of Tuning, to make your Elfnote deck and have a very powerful boss monster. Elfnote, Seraphim Strelitzia. I probably butchered that pronunciation, but what else is new? Another synchro boss monster for the Elfnote archetype. This one, unlike the last monster, is actually an Elfnote card. This is a pretty cool card. It's both an extender and disruption in the same effect, right? Because you can not only revive one of your Elfnote monsters from the graveyard, but then you can optionally adjust down the levels of all level 4 higher monsters on the field by 3. This can not only disrupt your opponent's Synchro or Xyz plays, or even some Link plays in some scenarios, but if they need a specific level of monster, right? But more than that, it also sets up your Junora Power Patron of Tuning. Through your Elfnote Power Patron, you can adjust the level up of your Elfnote monster in the center main monster zone, and then you can go Elfnote Power Patron level 1, level 6, the monster you bumped up, plus level 3 equals 10. There's your Junora. So, very, very nice for setting up your full Elfnote endboard. And as a result, you're definitely going to want at least one copy for your Elfnote deck. I say at least, I think one is actually just good enough. I did see a couple of builds that were on 2, but I think especially as the deck gets more support and you need more room in your extra deck for other things, then you're definitely going to only want one copy for sure. Elfnote Lucina, of course part of the new Elfnote archetype, is a very good card within the deck. It actually plays kind of every single role at once. It's a starter, it's an extender, and it also provides disruption. Although you do have better starters within your deck, you could still definitely go pretty much full combo off of Lucina alone. And on top of that, you also get the very, very potent bounce ability. So, a very important card for pretty much all Elfnote builds, and you're going to want 3 copies, again, for pretty much every build of Elfnote. Elfnote Regina, a pretty notable card for the new Elfnote archetype. Fun fact, in the TCG/OCG, this is actually part of the second wave of Elfnote support, but I kind of figured we would get it early here, and sure enough, here we are. So, this card is a very important 3-of for the Elfnote deck. It's pretty much Elfnote circular. It does a lot of the things the archetype really wants. It can summon as a quick effect, which is really nice, and then when you summon it to the center main monster zone, it pulls any Elfnote out of deck, which can either get your plays going, or even be used to synchro summon, possibly even during the opponent's turn, although it would require at least a little bit of setup with other Elfnote cards in your hand. And the fact that it wheels itself back to your hand is really nice. If you use it as synchro material, like during turn 1 for example, you can then in theory use it on your opponent's turn as well. Very solid card, and a definite 3-of for your Elfnote decks. Hecahands Jaza is the boss monster of the new Hecahands archetype. which I think is very cool aesthetically. As far as power level goes, not as much. See, the thing is, I really have not seen the tournament results in the TCG and OCG to call this deck even tier 3. I'm going to put it in upper rogue. I do think Hecahands is pretty decent, and again, I think it's a really, really cool archetype, but as far as, again, the actual strength of it goes, it does leave a little bit to be desired, in my opinion. Now, as far as this card in particular, if you are going to be on Hecahands, then it is definitely a card you're going to want to play at least 2 copies, if not 3, pretty much every single time. So I think that overall this card is quite solid for, again, specifically the Hecahands. Well, not even specifically the Hecahands deck. Yeah, I did also see some Chimera builds that were playing this card, as well as a couple of Hecahands and a bit of a smaller engine, because they do support and are also illusion monsters. So you could find a home for Hecahands, not only within its own archetype, but within Chimera as well. But that said, I don't really envision either deck, again, being higher than upper rogue in terms of power level. The Hidden Hecahands is a searcher spell for the new Hecahands archetype, and it's a pretty solid one at that. So you have the ability to not only just straight up add any Hecahands monster from deck to hand, but you can also send another card to set a spell or trap card. Not only a good bonus effect, but for an archetype that cares a lot about stealing your opponent's cards, you can definitely just send one of their cards away that you take control of. Overall, it's pretty self-explanatory, I feel like. If you're playing a Hecahands deck, then you're definitely going to want a playset of this. If you're playing a Hecahands engine in Chimera, you could also consider it, although there I think it becomes a little bit more optional. But either way, it's pretty simple. Again, do you want to search Hecahands cards? If yes, play this. If not, again, if you're just using it as an engine, then you can maybe pass on it. Exosister Carmel is a very powerful new Xyz monster for the Exosister archetype, which I think has been a pretty solid deck, but it's mostly due to power creep that it's been slipping off from, like, you know, tier 3 to even debatably up to tier 2 back in, like, you know, closer to tier limits format, but I'd call Exosister more of a rogue deck now. Definitely needs the help, and this card is here to help, with the ability to not only set up any Exosister spell or trap card from the deck graveyard or banishment, this card can also change monster effects or normal spell or trap cards to add any card from your opponent's graveyard to their hand. Now, this is really powerful, not only because it's essentially a negate, turning a very useful effect into one that's probably not going to do as much, but this will also trigger all of your Exosister effects that care about exactly, you know, your opponent moving a card out of their graveyard. Not only that, but you get to pick, if I'm reading this right at least, you get to pick the card that's added, meaning you can make it extra useless if you want. So I would say as far as how many of this card you want for your Exosister deck, it varies, but for the vast majority of the builds that I found in my research, they were playing 2 copies. I saw some on 1, I saw some on 3, so I'll say 1 to 3, but I think 2 is probably the good answer here. As far as how good Exosister is going to be with this new support, I do think it will end up struggling a little bit still in the current meta. It's just still like that difference in power creep from Exosister to this stuff right now. Again, even with the new support, there is still a bit of a gap there. I'll say tier 3. I'm going to be a little bit optimistic and say tier 3. I think it's actually probably going to be upper rogue, but I'm mostly hedging up because I'm really not super familiar with Exosister, and I don't know even with or without this new support, right? So I'm not 100% sure. But again, I'm gonna hedge on the side of optimism and call this a lower tier 3 deck. Exosister Betrayal is a very, very good searching spell for the Exosister archetype. Definitely one of the things they needed along with the new boss monster they got. Yeah, I mean, being able to search 2 monsters and then discard a card is really, really solid. You know, at the very, very worst, if you really like the other 4 cards in your hand, assuming it's turn 1, you could just add 1 Exo monster and then discard the other. But the flexibility is very good here. Not only that, It gives you an extra normal, and also it provides some disruption during the opponent's turn, not only in the form of banishing cards from their graveyard, but that, of course, moving stuff out of their graveyard will trigger your main deck Exo monster effects. So, yeah, I mean, another pretty simple searching spell here. If you want to play Exosisters, I think you always play a playset of this card. If not just for the first effect alone, also for the fact that it has just a lot of things the deck really wants to be doing, all kind of rolled up into one card here. Dragunity Lord Georgius, or Georgius, not exactly sure what the pronunciation is. Same name as the Ice Barrier monster, but this is a new Link monster, a Link 4, specifically for Dragunities. It's actually generic pretty decently as far as the requirements go. It's just 2+ monsters, including a tuner. However, its effects have to deal specifically with Dragunity monsters and or equip spells. So, you know, take that genericness with a grain of salt. Now, as far as how good Dragunity is with the new support, it's definitely, I mean, more than, you know, I think any other deck here lacking. Both, honestly, before and after the new support. Dragunity as its own archetype, not, you know, Dragon Link, but Dragunity, really was struggling, like, to even maintain a lower rogue status. And while the new support does help, I can't imagine Dragunity being higher than lower rogue moving forward. It is important to keep in mind that as a wind archetype, it also has access to Sheena, a relatively recent piece of support for wind monsters in general, but I don't think that, even combined with the new Dragunity support, will bring it even into upper rogue. I have to be honest with you, I really can't imagine this deck competing at, you know, that high of a level, at least not very consistently. So I'm going to say lower rogue. If you do want to build Dragunity, you should definitely pick this card up. I think you would need probably just one copy would be fine. But yeah, I think Dragunity, even with this card and other support, is going. Dragunity Quirinus is a new starter for the Dragunity archetype, and a very, very solid one. I mean, it doesn't get any more simple than this. You normal or special this, you get your Dragunity spell or trap card, and then you can start making your plays. Definitely the kind of searcher that you would expect any 2026 Yu-Gi-Oh deck to have, but of course, this is part of the follow-up support, so first time it's getting something like this. As a result, it does tend to be pretty important for Dragunity decks, and I think I would just pretty much always recommend a full playset, unless you're kind of just using Dragunity as an engine. It's worth noting that Dragon Ravine does not actually have Dragunity in its name, so can't search that with this card, but Dragunity, of course, has other ways of searching it within the archetype. I still don't really see Dragunity being much better than, like, lower rogue at absolute best. I really could not find any evidence that it topped anything more than a local, but it's still, I mean, for the archetype, really, really good support. That if you're interested in playing the deck, definitely want to pick up a playset of this. Artmage Non Finito is some pretty solid follow-up support for the Artmage deck. It can be cheated out of the extra deck by using a spell, trap card, or any level 7 or higher Artmage from the hand or field. That's pretty notable. So it's very reminiscent of Dark Magician of Destruction, but actually even easier to summon. Of course, provided that you have an Artmage monster in your hand or field. And not only that, but it also sets up Artmage spell and traps from your deck, and it's a quick effect fusion summon. The only real requirement is that you can only use monsters you control. You can't use anything from like your hand or anywhere else, but quick effect fusion summoning is always worth noting. So this card does end up being really, really solid for Artmage decks, and you could also, in theory, use it in like any amount of Medius the Pure Lord decks. I found like a couple of Doom Z lists that were teching this card as well. Definitely, though, really, really good for Artmage. Most people I saw were on like one copy, but I saw a few 2s and 3s as well, so as many as you pull if you're on Artmage, it might be worth experimenting with that number of copies, just see how much you like it and how much you end up needing it, but it does seem like a really solid card. Okay, and that is going to do it for our review of the new URs from the Selection Pack Song of Divinity. Definitely let me know what you think of this pack in the comments down below, and the archetypes featured within. I'm definitely excited to try Elfnote at the very least, but there is some pretty exciting follow-up support for other things here as well. For the time being, though, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. This is Hexlex, hoping that you have a fantastic day. But before we finish off, let's move on to our outro so we can thank our YouTube members and Patreon subscribers. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which, by the way, is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.